So we entered the month of June. Summer, for many, has already begun. For some, like in my area up here in New England, just getting started. Had our first days of 80 plus degree weather. Thursday, it was up to almost 90 on the real feel. So about to put my air conditioner unit in tomorrow. It's been wasn't hot today, but the humidity was pretty much at max. And, it got me thinking, up here in New England, we can get away with a wall AC for, maybe 3-4 months of the year. You really need it. In some places, it is year round. And that could not be more true for our guest here today, RJ Bishop, who lives in Arizona, which is pretty much hell on earth. RJ, how are you doing today?
I'm all right. That's a pretty much accurate statement about Arizona.
How hot was it today?
Today's high is supposed to be 103.
Jesus. Meanwhile, it's 70 degrees over here. It's just muggy and rainy. But I feel like
I'd
I'm
rather
in a
have that right
swamp.
now.
I feel like I'm in a swamp. Like Thursday was like 85 and it was just hot. There wasn't humidity, but I would rather have 85 and hot over 70 degrees and humidity because you just feel wet the whole time. So I definitely got to put that unit in tomorrow. But so let's get right into it. RJ, we'll start with what got you into motorsports, who your first favorite driver was, who it is now, if it's changed, and your favorite form of motorsports.
Let's see. When I first got into racing, anything at least, my dad was racing locally, so that was step number one of getting into the sport. So that was cool. And then started going to the NASCAR races almost twice a year for camping at least. And then my first driver that I started cheering for was Tony Stewart, only because of the Home Depot car, and that's about it.
Oh, just the Home Depot colors? You like the orange?
Yep. And then I started towards the junior, and then I went on a Kurt Busch phase in 2013 into his Pocono wreck.
Mm. Who would you say you got
And
now?
then Bowman and Larson and Blaney.
Okay. Respectable trio right there.
Yep.
So Michigan Trucks was today. You got Cup race tomorrow. Truck race was rather chaotic. I know you were at work, so you likely didn't get to see much of it, if any of it.
I saw parts and pieces
Yeah,
on Twitter.
the the end of it was shit show city. All it took was
Like normal?
all it took was one bad restart of guys trying to anticipate from row two, and then chaos ensued from there. But highlight of the race to me was Ross Chastain had a insane save off of turn two. Like that thing looked like it was gonna just go straight to the inside wall, and he caught it instead. I mean, it just reminded me of his save at Kansas. I think it was back in like 2019 or 2020 when he was running almost like every series every week, and he had a crazy save off a turn two at Kansas, and it really reminded me of that. I mean, it was literally just another dead sideways truck, and he just wheel handled that thing. But
Yeah.
so you got Cup tomorrow. Sorry, were you gonna say something?
No, I was just thinking.
Just thinking out loud. Yep, sounds
Yep.
good. Yep, no worries there. So last week we had the series racing was at Nashville. Formula One was at Spain. My boy Max Verstappen lost his mind, so that was
One does
fun.
not lose his mind.
Yeah, not wrong. I think the F1 drivers, I don't know if it's the G forces they go through or what, but they seem to get worked up so much quicker than like just that little bit more
NASCAR
than the
stuff.
NASCAR guys. Yeah, the NASCAR guys will like freak out. Like Blaney. Blaney's good about going, "What the fuck was that?" And then 5 seconds later, he's just chilled out, like he's over it. But yeah, it's just funny. Max is probably not gonna have a shot at the championship anymore, but I mean F1 still has like 13 races to
Never
go,
say
so
never.
Yeah, never say never. It could flip, but I don't see it unless Red Bull suddenly becomes the best team again. I think they're supposed to race Canada this week. I'm not sure if it was this week or next week.
It's next weekend.
Next weekend's Canada. Okay. So F1
Yeah.
will be in Canada and NASCAR will be down in Mexico. How about that?
Even wild part is NASCAR will be on an F1 track.
Yeah. Yeah, they're running the full layout from what I understand. So that should be interesting. One little bit of info I heard was there were a couple of teams. I don't know if it was just Xfinity teams and or Cup teams, but I heard from someone who works for a NASCAR team that races on NR that there were some teams scrambling to find semi trucks because the insurance companies up here weren't going to insure their trucks past the border. So they were trying to find trucks that would be insured because Freddie Kraft said it on Door Bumper Clear when the Mexico news first came out. I don't know if it was earlier this year or late last year. He said that when they went to Mexico like 20 years ago for Bush, they were all told, do not leave the hotel. You might not come back. So I can understand maybe them being worried about insurance and the semi trucks maybe getting stolen or just like vandalized or something like that. I don't know. It is Mexico City after all, so I don't know what really goes on down there.
True. No, I don't think no one does.
Sim racing wise, for you, what did your past week look like?
The only two races I did were SMO on Monday. Ended up getting second in that race.
Or
Or not
track?
second, third. I think it was I-70
Okay.
short track. And then ended up finishing sixth, I think it was 16th at Milwaukee Mile at Maverick.
Okay.
That's the only two races I did that week.
Right on. So for me, this week, I did Fast at Nashville, which I won. The way the track was set up, it was definitely two grip lanes. I think it might have been three. I'm not sure if it went asphalt concrete paint or if it was just asphalt and then paint. But paint was like a very thin line right around the wall. So a few times I actually almost put it in the wall going into the corner and almost like wrecked it coming off the wall a few times. I was pretty much larcening it like the whole race. But you would run the top to save your tire temp, and you would run the bottom if you wanted to get heat in it. But what I found was you were better off just running the top the whole time, and only go to the bottom if you had to make a pass. Because the first stint I did like a half and half kind of thing, and man did it get tight on the bottom at the end of the run. And then the second stint I just rode the wall. Other than one time I had to pass Dunlap Pratt for the lead because he had gotten by me using the bottom. And then when I used the bottom to get by him, I just went right back to the top. And by the end of that run, my car felt like it had that extra 2-3% of grip that I was missing the first run. So the race went green, 105 laps with small crowd. But I was able to get my, I don't even know, seventh or eighth win of the season, something ridiculous at this point. And then Tuesday, I broadcasted with Andrew at Hobo. That was an eventful race, to say the least. And then Wednesday and Thursday night, I ran fun races at Bomb Squad. They were running Michigan and Michigan trucks and Bomb Squad. It's just as fun as the truck race today was, except without all the crashing. I did make it 4 wide at one point though for the funsies. I came off of turn 4 and they were 3 wide in front of me, and I was like, yeah, why not? I'll go to the bottom 4 wide. I'm thinking in my head, I'll back out before the corner. I won't be that crazy.
And you didn't get back out.
Well, Keith McLean saw me down on the bottom, and he was thinking, "What the hell is this fucker doing?" And next thing you know, he was too busy looking at me, and he turned up into Herman Reese, who was in the middle of the 3 wide, dumped Herman down into me, and we all crashed into turn 1. But I didn't get too much damage from it, so I was still competitive at the end. But I kept getting left. I got third in that one. I think Hezzy won. No, did Hezzy? No, Herman won that race. And then the Cup race Thursday, I had a great battle with Nelly and Hezzy Hardy, and I was able to get the win in that one. But I haven't been counting the fun runs over there because they're not for points or anything, and they're just for fun. They're not like an actual like scheduled exhibition like Fuel would do, or like an all-star. Like I would count those, but this is like it's going to be fun runs every week to the end of the year, so I'm not counting any of those wins to my total. But I love Michigan. Super fun. So those were my 3 races on the weekend. Looking into the coming week, we've got Fast at Michigan tomorrow, which Andrew will be broadcasting. I'll be racing. I am going to be running Maverick on Tuesday at Pocono. I'll be running Cody's car for that one. You running anything else this week other than Maverick, RJ?
I'm actually not racing Maverick next week
Oh,
because I gotta work.
oh, you got to work.
Yeah, I think the only race I gotta do next week is SMO at Coca-Cola
Okay,
Super Speedway. I think that's all I'm doing next week. I think.
right on. Okay. Also, since we covered our weeks here in NR and in motorsports, let's dive into a more of a history lesson. How did you get into NASCAR racing 2003 season, and when did that occur?
Oh God, think it was randomly on YouTube in 2013, I think, or 14, right around there for offline at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that
And
counts.
then let's see. And I didn't start racing online until probably late 2019.
Yeah, I don't
So that's
I don't. Yeah, I think you're right. I
large
don't
gap.
remember. I don't remember you racing online for a while. I just remember you would always sign up for my offline stuff.
Yeah.
What did that first race look like? Do you remember what the first one was?
Pretty sure it was Icebreakers. I don't remember what season, but it was the Mem Cup 19 mod at Phoenix.
Oh, fitting.
And yeah, randomly enough, D Young messaged me that day out of the blue saying, "Hey, do you want to race Phoenix since it's your home track?" I was like, "Screw it, why the fuck not?" And then I think I ended up finishing 4th or somewhere in the top 5. I know I didn't win, but
Do you
it
remember
was
what?
worth a shot.
Do you remember what number you were driving?
It was 98.
Okay. Yeah, 98's kind of a staple for you for offline teams, the offline league teams that
Yeah,
you own.
and once in a blue moon, I'll bring it back for online, but I hardly run 98 now.
Right on. So let's talk about your first win here. You sent me your sheet, which is very
Yeah,
detailed. I gotta say, you've got the mod
it's
on here. You've got the specific league. I know my win sheet. I don't have the exact dates on my Google Docs, but the Facebook pictures I post, those have the exact date because it shows the upload date. But otherwise, I know the track. Um, I've been keeping track of the number now, though that's not like put put in the docs either. I don't have the sponsor listed, that's for sure. That's a new one. But so yeah, let's see. Pickups UK mod in the drafting duos dash series. Those were your first 2 wins actually.
yeah.
So talk about how it felt to get those first 2 wins at Talladega.
It was actually kind of nice because it obviously took me a while to get that first win, and then and I think it was after the race I was like, thank God I actually won one, and then obviously not that long later I got the second win at
Yeah, a week later.
same track. Yeah, so that was cool, and then I had to wait a while for my next win.
Yeah, right on. I mean, they've been picking up for you though. The longer you race, the more frequent they seem to come.
Yeah,
You only had the 3, like looking at the sheet to tell people at home here. He got 3 in 2021. It looks like just 1 win in 2022,
what?
and then they
Yeah, that's the only win.
started to come in 2023 and so forth. So, you've been
Yeah,
racking them up. You just got your 25th win back in April, which is a nice milestone to hit. Next thing you know, you'll be
yeah,
looking at trying to hit 50. 50 was a special one for me, but I think 50 was actually more special for me because it was a harder fought win. It was an open setup Bristol truck race, and I had to fend off Greg Lavelle to win that one. At the time, Greg was like pretty much like maybe equal or better than me at the game. So the 50th career win was like very hard fought, and then my 100th win fittingly came at I think Homestead, also open setup in the trucks. I forget if that I think that truck race was a Cup Physics race though. But yeah, 50 and 100 are really cool, and then 200, if you ever run the game long enough to get to it, 200 is pretty cool. I mean, after 200 though, like I'm just like racking up numbers at this point. Like it don't really matter too much.
Yeah.
Is there a specific track you'd like to win at that you haven't won at yet? I
Oh,
see you got a Phoenix win.
God.
You
Got
have
a
one at
couple in there.
Phoenix, yeah.
Probably Sonoma, because in Vegas, because those are the indoor Portland. Those are the only West Coast tracks I have not won at yet.
Okay. So
So
for
that's what I'm trying to do.
yeah, Sonoma and Portland probably be the harder
Actually,
ones. Well, then again, you
scratch that. I actually have a Sonoma win, so never mind. Forgot I had that one. So Portland and
yeah, you do. Yeah,
Vegas.
early. Yeah. So Portland and
Forgot about
Vegas,
that, to be
yeah.
honest.
Yeah, so I mean it was a while ago looking at here. Looking at
Yeah.
RJ's list here, Sonoma was his 6th win and that was early 2023.
Yep.
FTR Light Series. I remember winning a couple races in whatever league it was you were running. FSRL, was it?
Uh,
Or was it something else?
that was in 2022.
Yeah. Yeah, geez, 2022 feels like only a year ago. It's just 3 years ago
Yeah.
already.
Or yeah.
Yeah, I remember I got to bring back some old number 3 paint schemes that I had ran back in like 2016, 2017 that I had never won in. So it was cool to have the opportunity to run that league and get wins in those paint schemes. So I can say, you know, I won in those paint schemes. Like I'm happy to have done it. There's like one other two. There's one paint scheme that I want to run again. I need to get it converted to some of the newer mods that I got 2 wins in it, including the championship, and I'd love to run it some more. Was my Taro Katano Scorchers Dodge that I ran at IMRC back in 2019. I need to bring that back, get some more W's in that paint scheme
You
because
should.
DJ did a great job on that thing, man. I got to get Cody to convert it to another mod. Cody's gonna be like, "Oh, come on, conversion."
It's typical Cody.
But he'll do a good job, I'm sure. And if he doesn't want to mess with it too much, you can always probably ask DJ to help him out with it. Okay. What was one thing you struggled with when you started out? And I don't remember. Were you on controller before you got your
I was
wheel?
on controller when I first started.
Okay, yeah. So what was
It
one
was a little
thing?
difficult at first, to be honest.
Right.
Let's see. Dingo's mostly the off throttle stuff
Mm-hmm.
and braking, at least for the most part, on the controller. Because I was using the right analog stick for the gas and brakes, so I couldn't do both at the same time, which sucked. But eventually, I put the left trigger as the brakes, so I didn't have to do one at a time.
Yeah, that's interesting. You were using the analog sticks for
Yeah,
your
it was
throttle and
better throttle
brake.
control.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How would you steer after you made the left analog the brake? Just a directional pad or?
I actually used the left analog stick for the steering, and the right analog stick, if I went up, is for the brake, and down for the gas.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
I was able to use both of my thumbs.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually I got tired of that
Yeah,
and changed it.
when did you make the switch to wheel? What wheel did you get?
Oh, God. I think it was late 2021. And I think it was a very cheap Atari racing wheel.
Oh boy.
Still have it. Don't use it.
Just sitting there in the closet like a museum relic.
Pretty much. And then obviously I got the wheel that I have today replacing it, so that's nice.
Which wheel is that?
Logitech G920, I believe.
Okay.
Let me double check here. Yeah, it is.
Xbox buttons.
Yep.
I remember having
That's what I'm used to.
I remember because I had an Xbox at back in the day and I was never like too big on PlayStation or whatever. I just or it was no, it was I thought the Xbox wheel was the only one that would work with PC at the time that it came out, and then that later turned out not to be true. So then like 2 or 3 years after having my 920, I was like, well, I want more buttons, and the G29 has more buttons, so I'm gonna switch to that. So I haven't looked back since then, but I've been practically using the same wheel now for the last seven or so years. The settings have changed here and there, but same wheel. What kind of settings do you use, RJ?
Oh god, I usually do 200 and something degrees of rotation
200 and
for
something. There's an answer.
I think it's 270.
Okay. What
And
about?
then for my shifting, I use my H pattern.
Okay, yeah, you got an H pattern right on.
Yeah,
How many shifters have
which
you
is
had to go through?
still none. I'm still on my first one.
Okay, there you go. I've gone through, gosh, I think this is my fourth one. They just start getting really loud and clanky, and you can kind of tell when it's maybe time to just preemptively replace because
Yeah,
I had one shifter where the the button for like second and fourth started to like cross into each other, and
that ain't good.
there was a race Michael did that was for money, and I was in a great shot to get some money, and
And then chucked it away.
on the final restart I went from first to second gear, but the shifter was like, you went to fourth gear, and I got myself dumped, and I was so mad.
Yikes.
I was so mad after too because I literally went in testing session and shifted from first to second back and forth 50 times without a problem. And I was like, "Yep, I'm buying a new shifter. This is some bullshit." I was like, "Damn, shifter cost me $50 of winning, so now it's gonna cost me $60 to get a new one."
F.
But so now anytime I notice if I run a road course, if it gets clanky or it feels too loose, like when you move it when you get it at first it's like nice and stiff, but after like a couple months it slowly loosens up with more and more usage. So the current one I got at the beginning of last year, and I raced so much that I thought I might need to get a new one for this year, but I just haven't done that, and I haven't had the need to. So like right now too, I'm only racing a couple times a week. I'm not planning to race every night of the week like I did late last year. So I think I'll just keep this shifter, and if I need to get a new one at the end of the year, I will for next year. But I think I should be okay unless I start having problems. Do you know what steering linearity you run in the game?
God, I don't think so.
That's a big one. I always like to hear about the linearity
Let me
because
see here. Let me open my game here.
some people will run a certain degree of rotation and they could have drastically different steering linearities.
0.
Okay, there you go. That's good. That's good. So
I just leave it where it is.
that creates a lot of delay, but it also gives you smoother control. So, it's good for like tire saving tracks. A lot of people I've come across, they're like, "Oh, how do you save your tires so much?" And I'm like, 53% linearity helps me out a lot. And they'll be running like 260, 280, and they've got their linearity at 100, and it's like, well, that's why you're burning your right front off, bro. Yeah. Your car is so twitchy when you put the wheel in that you're burning the right front that extra like 5%. That's a game changer. Is the linearity. Plus, a lot of guys at RTG do that. They run 0, and they're really good on the long run because of it. All right, let's do a fun one. Who was the first person you butted heads with? Who'd you have a problem with?
Myself.
Yourself? There's an answer. How did that happen?
um. Eventually, I'll do something stupid. I'll just butt heads with myself. Every time when I usually do something dumb, I usually say, "You know better than that," but I don't learn.
You don't learn.
Nope, never.
Okay, how about an actual confrontation? And anyone?
Oh God, probably Trey Kenzie.
Oh boy. What was the
Yeah,
first
don't get
time? When was the first time you had a problem with Trey Kinsey?
him wrecking my teammates.
Where was this?
I think it was Maverick.
You remember the track?
I know he wrecked Michael at Milwaukee, and the rest I don't even remember. There's so many times he wrecked a teammate.
I know Phoenix last year, I think it was, there was a lot of drama. And I don't remember if the year before that there was drama at Phoenix too or not.
I know one of the Phoenixes he got into it with Seth.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but I think it was the year before. That was fun times.
Fun times, yeah. Um who's your main rival? Like a positive that that can be
Oh God,
positive or negative. Typically it's a positive. Like
Probably Seth.
someone you're always competing with for position and whatnot. Seth?
Either Seth or Nick. Yeah.
Okay. What would you say are some fun fights you've had with Seth and Nick?
Oh God, there's a bunch of them. Probably let's see. Probably IRP comes to mind when I won in Icebreakers last year. So that was fun with all three of us battling for the win. And then I'm trying to think what else. Homestead and FTR Winter Series. So and I think those were one more. And Stafford was another one, which was fun.
Right on, right on. What's the dumbest thing you've ever done on track? Have you intent
Half
wrecked
of them I
anybody?
don't even remember. I think I have, but I don't even remember.
I think I
It's been that
intent
long.
I think I intent wrecked somebody, but I don't remember. I mean, I don't know, man. Usually I remember who I've dumped on purpose because there's usually a little bit of a
I
beef
think I've done
there.
a few, but I don't even remember who. I think I done one to think it was D Young at one point, just for the lulls.
Direct to Young for the lulls.
And the sad part is I don't even remember what series it was or track.
Damn, what a shame. You can't even remember what track you wrecked D Young at. What's a moment between you and myself that you can recall? Any memorable moments?
I'm trying to remember them all.
So I like asking this question because ever since I had Blake on like a month ago, and Blake was like, "Oh yeah, I remember you were really pissed at me that one time at Lime Rock, you and Emmanuel," and I was like, "I do not remember this. Like I totally forgot this happened." So I like asking this question because usually different people remember different things. Little things that I might have forgotten might have not been so little for somebody else. So it's a fun question to me. But so far,
Think
you've just given me, ah, man, so much has happened. I can't remember anything. It's just like on the spot, nervous anxiety.
trying to I think the most fun I had with you was probably Icebreakers or Next Gen,
hmm
and once in a while Maverick. But nothing there goes happens very good, but it's whatever. And then once in a while Fast. So I think that's about it. I think.
Yeah, you race it fast here and there. Do you have to work Sundays typically, or are you usually watching something else?
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't. I usually pick and choose my tracks over there.
Okay. Yeah,
I was gonna race in Nashville, but I wanted to watch the Cup race instead. So
Yeah, I didn't really understand why the NASCAR race started at 7 o'clock. Like, I don't know if they were worried about the heat or what. But I don't know why they just didn't just do it as a Saturday night race. I know they had all three series racing, but they could have done Xfinity during the day and then done Cup at night. I don't know why they insist on doing Sunday night races now, if it's not a holiday. Because that's what they used to do. It used to be if it was like obviously Coke 600 is always Sunday night because of Memorial Day, and then Southern 500 they always did at like 6 o'clock because of Labor Day. But
yeah,
lately they've started doing random Sunday night races, and I'm just like, why, dog? Why?
Because money.
Money. Maybe, yeah. Maybe it was better for Prime, so Prime could just say, yeah, we can just run it into the night or whatever, and they were like, okay.
Probably.
But yeah. So we got Michigan tomorrow. Michigan was fun last year, and it'll be broadcasted tomorrow by Andrew, like I said earlier. So if you can, you should show up.
I'll think about it. I'm off tomorrow, so I'll think about it.
Right on. Okay, so out of these 28 wins, which one means the most to you?
Oh God, probably one of both Phoenix races, probably since they're the home track.
Yeah, so you
I
got
think the
Phoenix win number 4 was
and
April 12th.
15.
Yep, April 12th,
Race 15.
2022. That was in Maverick. That was the one where Merzlak got penalized, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was a controversial one. And then let's see, where's your other Phoenix win here?
Race win number 15, February 27th,
Yep,
2024.
2024. That was in the Winter Truck Series. I'm assuming less controversial way to win at
Yeah,
the home track.
that win was more dominant than the other one. I think I
Well,
led like 90% of the laps.
that must have felt good then to get the second one right because the first one
Yeah,
had such an
a lot better.
asterisk next to it. I mean, you were side
It was
by
a lot better.
side. Who were you side by side with when Merzlak sent it? I don't remember. Because I
I
know.
was I was in front of Nick, and Merzlex shot the gap between me and Nick,
Hmm.
and somehow didn't hit neither of us.
And then you were ahead barely over Nick side by side to the line because Merzlak had started to slow down against the wall because he got the wall glow.
Yeah,
And
I
that,
tried to get him back. It just wasn't enough speed.
yeah, I mean, what a time to be alive that was, though. I remember when it happened, it was like, oh yeah, win stands, and then there was like a bunch of back and forth after, and then I think it was like, I don't know if it was that day or the next day that the win got taken away from old Merzlak.
Yeah, my whole team was bitching and moaning about it. So,
Mhm.
and then we left that league for a while.
Yes,
That's why we started FSRL.
the split.
Yeah.
The good old split. Yep, that was a whole pot of
Yep.
fun. Have you won a championship yet anywhere?
I have not. I was close. Season 2 of the Winter Truck Series, I finished second in points. I don't remember how much back, but that was just pain.
Who beat you for that title?
Mercurio.
Oh, Mercurio.
I think he
Cheerios.
got like, I don't even remember how many wins he's got. Like halfway through the season, it was like 2 or 3, and then I bounced off with a couple wins. But I was mostly consistent that season, anyways, which was nice.
Mm-hmm. Any funny moments you've seen on track from other drivers?
Probably with anyone that's involved with Fortnite squad racing. You never know what's gonna freaking happen.
Nothing in particular comes to mind though.
Uh, probably not. There's too freaking many.
How about
I
the
think the one. I'm trying to remember the track, but I think we're like 3 wide in either Icebreakers or Next Gen. I don't remember the track, and we ended up like wrecking at the finish line. I think you were involved with that at one point. I don't remember the track.
Yeah, I can't say I recall. Now you got me saying I can't remember stuff.
I know I remember parts and pieces of it, but I don't remember the whole thing.
What was that moment? Seth made a reference to something you said at Boston a couple of weeks ago, and during the RTG broadcast, something about pace car, pace to pass car.
Yeah, I said it. I said it all out of whack when we were doing a next gen race. I said when I was behind the pace car, don't pace the pass car, My dumbass said it backwards by accident, without even realizing it. And that's why
Uh,
Seth made it a freaking short on his YouTube channel.
yeah, what a riot. Yeah, I remember hearing him say it, and I was like, that sounded on purpose. What? I'm like,
It was.
I'm like, why did Seth say that? And then he told me after, he's like, oh, RJ said that once, and I was like, oh, okay, so it's a reference. Got it.
Yeah.
Too funny.
Sadly.
All right, you got to have answers to this question.
All right. Bet. Say less.
All right, what is your favorite mod, favorite track, favorite league to race at, past or present, and your favorite physics type? You can answer in any order.
Favorite physics, probably Cup, because probably the most fun. And track, probably any road course or short track. And mod, oh god. Probably either the 2019 mod or the next gen mod.
Okay.
I don't have a number one, but it's one of those two.
And what about favorite league or
Uh,
series?
probably either next gen or winter
NNSCRA next
trucks.
gen. Okay. Yeah, so
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, so either one of those NNSCRA leagues. I know Winter
yeah,
Truck was
one of them.
cool. Winter Truck was cool doing the broadcast with Andrew because I remember I remember that's how I got started doing commentary with Andrew was last winter, and I was
Yeah,
like, "Hey, if you need help," like I knew he had people, but I was just like, "Hey, if you need help, like I can do races with you if you want." And then I just started to become the main guy with him, which I was grateful for because I did a few races with Seth. I had been trying to help out Joe if he needed somebody, but Joe always had people. But then, like, I would also go to watch Joe and he would have nobody with him a lot of times. But, he's just like probably had somebody, but then they canceled last second, or he was just
probably.
cool with doing it solo. But I'm really glad Winter Truck exists because I don't know. I'm sure Andrew would have been doing something else, and I would have reached out anyway. But that was like I was doing that every week with Andrew, other than the like two races he promised for. I think it was Blake to do one, and I think Dylan Young did one. And then you said next gen, which I know the last time I raced the next gen was I think season 2 I raced it. That was back in man 20 late
It
2021
was either
into 2022. That was season
the
2.
last season that Seth did for next gen was not that long ago, I think.
I think he did a third one, but I didn't participate because season 2 I won like half the season. And
Yeah, I remember that. Not fun times.
the season was like 30 races and I won 18 of them and I was no one was showing up. Cuz there were a few people that were like, "Oh, Zach's tryharding, he's practicing," which I only practiced for like one race. And that was it. And a bunch of guys stopped showing up. But
For me, I'm like, I don't care. I'm still showing up regardless.
yeah, I mean, we had some fun races. Mount Pocono was fun. We had some of those goofy tracks on there, and I remember Mount Pocono.
Oh God.
Mount Pocono was funny because I was like, I could clutch it and make it on one less pit stop. Do I really want to do that? And I think I did. I think I did. Yeah, I clutched it so I could make it on one less pit stop, which was kind of funny.
Just that season with all the goofy tracks was just funny as hell.
Martinsville was funny too.
Richmond Corkscrew was another one.
Yep, Richmond Corkscrew. I think that one we ended up cutting the race short
Because
because there was 6 of
I
us.
think
There were 5 or 6
I know
of
I
us.
was in that race.
Yeah, there were 5 or 6 of us. Jack, I think, was Jack in that race, and he or Robbie was in
I
that
don't.
race. Yeah, not
Robbie
Jack.
was, I was, Seth was, and you, and I don't think Matt wasn't also in that race.
Yeah, but
McIntyre at least.
I think something happened to Robbie and he quit, and then I don't know if something happened to you and you quit, but then it was just like me, Seth, and Matt, and I was like, I'm almost a lap ahead. You guys want to just call this race like 20 laps short? And Seth was like, yeah, why not? And so we did.
think I just got pissed off in that race and said, "Fuck it, I don't care anymore."
um, have you fiddled with iRacing or any other sims at all?
I have, but it's not the same. My computer can't run it as good.
And so, what? How much iRacing have you done? I know you said you computer don't run
Very
it.
little. Very little. Think I had the last time I got iRacing, it was for a month, and I hardly touched it. Don't
Mm.
really know why I did it.
Just to maybe like screw it, give it a shot. Why not? I didn't like
Yeah,
this.
pretty much.
Computer can't handle it. Back to NR.
I still ran races on it, but it's not the same as NR. It's more fun on NR.
Yeah, it's less serious. I feel like now we finally reached a
Yeah.
point where anybody who takes the sim racing super seriously, with the exception of Nick. Sorry, Nick. Um,
Love
um,
you too, Nick.
I take it seriously too, though. So I mean, what am I saying? I've been trying to take it less serious. But so anyway, a lot of
Yeah.
the serious people have moved on to iRacing. So like 8 7 8 years ago, there were a lot of serious leagues, and now like there are still serious leagues, but a lot of those guys have been doing it so long that they're more laid back about it. It doesn't feel like there's a huge seriousness to stuff unless you're running open setup. Then like open setup, you kind of need to put some work in, which can be fun for some people. Other people, it's a pain in the ass. For me, it's easy because I just have setups for everything now, and I know what helps me go fast. So I just if I go to a new version, I can take a setup from another version, make small changes to get it to work. Or if I go to a new track, I kind of have a general idea. I can compare it. Like if I were to go to, I don't know, like let's say I had to do a open setup race at South Boston. Well, I can probably take my Martinsville or Bristol setup and make changes to that, and then like I'm gold. So like it's not difficult for me. It's pretty easy at this point. Have you ever? Did you ever do any open setup other than maybe some fuel races? I think you've been
I
racing
think
fuel a little
Field's the
bit, right?
only. I think Field's the only place I've done open setup leagues. That's it.
Mm. How many people have you met from the community in real life? Have you met anybody?
No, but I've been in close proximity of somebody though before.
Okay.
I think it was Warren Keith
Warren, Kyle, Keith. Okay.
at Phoenix Championship race in 21. I
Is
think it
there
was that race. Pretty
any
sure.
anybody you would be looking to meet to have like
Oh
go to a
God,
race with or anything? Just anybody,
probably
maybe.
Seth and a couple other people from the Fortnite squad team. That's about it.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I
All
think
right.
oh, when they went to Martinsville in 20, I think it was 2023. Originally, was gonna go, but didn't go.
Any number you're looking to run that you haven't run yet? I think every
Oh
time I go
God,
on Facebook now, you're painting a scheme for another number.
I
And
got a
looking
whole list
looking at your wins
at
list
numbers
too,
here.
you've won in a lot of different numbers. I think I've won in like 20 different numbers or so now, and I'm trying to expand that list, but I also
So
barely
as of
race at a lot of
right
places.
now, I am running. Let's see here, 6 different numbers right now.
Damn.
Yeah,
So
I started keeping track of my numbers and races and or wins.
looking at the looking at your wins list, I see the 2, 4, 98, 9, 45, 42, 13, 16, 47, 15, 3, 54, 7, 40, 07, 88, 18, 78. That's a lot of numbers.
Yeah,
You don't have like a clear dominant number on
number
your
no.
list. I
So
see
the
3 wins for the
SRX
3.
race and the drafting duos wins. I had no control over the numbers, so
Right. Right. It was just whatever team you ended up on.
yeah. And the rest, I'm like, I don't care what number I am. Screw it. Oh, and the High Grove Quackers races too. Forgot about those.
Quackers. Good
Yeah.
old Quackers. I remember I wanted to. I saw you guys were running that again, and I was like, oh, like
Yeah.
I'll run that. And then ever since I put interest in, Seth just hasn't hosted it.
Funny thing is, when me and Ulysses won that championship in December, he has not ran another race. I'm like, interesting.
Oh boy. Um, Outside of motorsports, what do you have interests in?
Uh, Wrestling is obviously one of them for WWE.
Yeah, we got Money in the Bank tonight. Any
Yep.
predictions for Money in the Bank?
Oh God, it's probably a toss up. To be honest, with both Money in the Bank matches, that's usually a toss up. I know. I
What do we
think
what do we have tonight? So we have a women's Money in the Bank and then the men's Money in the
a
Bank.
men's.
Yep, and then there's the tag team match. Is there anything other than those three?
I know another match that just got announced before we started doing this is Dominic Mysterio versus some dude from AAA with the IC title on the line.
Okay.
Cena and Logan Paul versus Cody Rhodes and Uso. Forgot
And
about that match, to be
is
honest.
there's no titles on the line there, right? That's just a match.
Uh, the Cody and uh, Uso match, that's just a normal tag.
Yeah, just a regular tag
The
match.
only the only two titles that are on the line is both Intercontinental titles. That's it.
So that's Dominic Mysterio's, and then there's a women's one match too.
Yes.
Which match
Yeah.
is that?
Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch.
Okay. Yeah, was it Lyra just beat who was it?
Becky at Saturday Night Main Event
Oh, so
or whatever pay per view it was.
it's Becky's challenged again?
Yes.
Wow. Interesting.
And if, because I'm looking at the Wikipedia right now, if Becky Lynch loses, she can no longer fight for the title with Valkyria as champion.
She would have to wait for someone else to become the champion because she'd have
Yes.
lost twice or three times.
Yes. Two in a row. And then if Valkyria loses, she'll be forced to raise Becky's hand and acknowledge that she's better than her. So
What an ego
yeah,
trip.
that's what it says on here. So not my fault.
What an ego trip. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently.
Crazy. Any other sports for you?
I usually keep track with any Arizona sports teams. That's about it.
The Coyotes
The
don't
only
exist
teams I
anymore, right? They moved
no
to, was it
Utah.
Utah?
I think the only team I don't cheer for is University of Arizona State, and that's it.
Okay. Yeah, because there's Arizona and Arizona State, right? It's like two
Yeah,
colleges. So you root for Arizona, not Arizona State.
correct.
So then basketball's Phoenix Suns,
And then the Diamondbacks.
and then the Diamondbacks for baseball. Yeah, and then Cardinals for football or no?
They're my second team.
Oh, you're a Green Bay fan, right?
Green Bay's number one, and then the Cardinals.
Right on. Okay. Yeah, I remember that
Still gotta
now.
support the home team.
So how do you how much bickering do you do with Dylan Young since he's a Vikings
Oh
fan?
God, don't even get me started with that. We go at to each other's throats with that crap.
And any bickering when you see Joven since Joven's a Bears fan or no?
Jovin's Jovin. Nah, I'm good.
You're good.
Yeah, I'm good.
How do you feel about
Uh,
who Green Bay got in the draft? I don't know who the hell they
Actually,
drafted. I
pretty
know they
happy.
got
I know
that wide
we got
receiver.
Golden from Red. That that was the one thing I was worried about if they were gonna draft a wide receiver in the first round. So I was very happy,
Mm.
and it's actually somebody good.
There you go. Yeah, I mean you want it to be somebody good. Golly.
Yeah, I was originally hoping if the wide receiver out of Arizona fell that far, but sadly he did not.
Mm. Yeah, that's tough. A lot of teams I think maybe sometimes they're like, oh, we'd love to take this guy. Hopefully he falls to us. We don't really want to trade up. And if not, they're like, yeah, we'll
Yeah.
just take this guy instead.
Regardless, I'm happy who they got.
Anything, music, movies, or TV shows you're into?
Oh God, I hardly watch any TV hardly anymore. But the one show that still watch to this day since I think it was '09 or 2010 is Ghost Adventures,
Okay, what's
and
that show?
then basically they hunt ghost.
Okay.
That's about it.
Yep.
Different locations,
Straightforward.
pretty simple. Yeah, and then movies. I think the last movie I saw was Transformers: Rise of the Beast. I think that was last year or the year before. That's the last movie I went to go see.
Okay, yeah, Rise of the Beast was
I
2 or 3 years
two
ago, because Transformers 1 came out
came
last
out
year.
last year. Yeah,
Yeah, I actually watched that. I bought it on Blu-ray and watched it. I enjoyed it pretty well. I liked it.
I thought about going to see it, but I was like, nah.
Yeah, I was thinking about
So
seeing it in theaters, and then I just didn't get around to it, and I was like, yeah, I'll just buy it on Blu-ray.
I'd rather watch a live action one. I'm good.
Yeah.
More cool.
And what about music?
I mostly listen to country, to be honest, more than
Country
anything.
roads take me home.
It what I grew up listening to, so that's what I'm used to. Eventually, I got listened to other different genres, but it's still mostly country.
I gotcha. Any other random interest outside of those in sports?
Oh God, probably not. Probably gaming, obviously.
You got a favorite video game other than NR?
Ah, any sport games like NBA. Once in a while, I'll play Minecraft, but typical Minecraft phase, I'll play it for a couple of days and then don't touch it for months. And then play GTA, obviously. Who doesn't play GTA?
I don't.
Well, some people,
I,
but most people.
I
Um,
I played it a little bit when I had an Xbox One, and I got to like a certain mission and I couldn't pass, and I was like, screw this. So
I think the most hours I've played a game for lately is the new F1 game, so I got a crap ton of hours on that already, which is nice.
F125.
Yep.
How is it? Like any other F1
I
game
actually
or?
enjoyed a lot better than 24,
Okay.
the last year game.
Do you play
My
it?
team stuff is a lot better.
Do you play it with controller or wheel?
I do. Controller.
Controller.
I leave my wheel hooked up to my computer and just out on my desk. I just leave it there. I'm like, I don't feel like moving it. I just let it be.
Oh, I don't have any other questions. I don't know if you've got any other random stories from the community or not. If not, I'm good. You good?
Yeah, fam.
All right. Uh, well, thanks for coming out, RJ. It was the Oh
Yeah.
God episode, if you could call it that. I think we're gonna title this one "Don't Pace the Pass Car," though. I think that'll be a good title.
If it's not that title, I'm gonna I'm gonna type some mean shit
Oh boy,
in our freaking Discord memes.
leave a dislike, I guess, on the video.
Nah, I'm good. No, no. Nah. I won't go that far.
All right, everybody. Well, that was RJ Bishop here on Who's That Driver. I don't even think I said the podcast name at the beginning. Crap. That's the second time I've done
No.
that. Second time.
Tell me.
Well, everyone clicked on the video. They knew what the hell they were clicking on. Yep, this was episode 12 of Who's That Driver with RJ Bishop. RJ, anybody you want to shout out here before we cut away?
Probably all my teammates.
Who are your teammates?
That
Nick, Seth. Is Nick a teammate?
D Young,
D Young.
Matt McIntyre, Michael Norman. I don't even remember who's all on our team, to be honest. There's so many of them. Oh, and also Anthony.
Why would you want to thank D Young though? I mean,
Uh,
come on.
he's
It's D
still part of
Young.
the team, though.
Yeah, but it's D Young.
Yeah, but still, he's still part of the team.
Yeah. True that. All right, well, that'll do it. The shortest episode yet, but no big deal. We got all the answers out of RJ here. RJ, the most forgetful guest of all time so far. Just so much stuff you can't even find one thing to talk about, but it's good. It's all good.
True.
Still got the experience on you. So, out of you rather. Whatever. Anyway, that's it for episode 12, and we'll see who we get for Bad Luck episode 13. Until then, thanks for listening. Peace out.